In this video, we'll be recovering data from this flash drive here. I don't know exactly which way it's going to go. This is a fairly big unit. It's based on IS817 controller. It's an older type of controller. It's a 64 gig in size. It's got 2 refurbished SanDisk memory chips on there. And overall, just my first impression of this device is that it's made out of not highest quality components, and there are a couple of things that could potentially be going wrong. So during my inspection, I felt like it's going to be a very straightforward case, and I didn't even hit the record button just because this video would have been 3 seconds long in my opinion as to what I thought I'm up against. But here is exactly what I thought the issue was, so you guys can see it in full detail. So when I was probing all of the connections, I noticed that this pin was not attached at all, and when I wiggled this header right here, the leg just chipped right off, so it wasn't even attached anymore. So it broke off, and as a result, obviously it needed to have a jumper made. So I've reattached this header. I reran solder joints on all of the essential parts, so they're nice and fresh, and this joint got reconnected, and this joint was remade with some loose wire that I had here on the table. What happened next? I confirmed that everything is connected, and I have my multimeter and I have my amp meter here. I checked that everything is connected, and I have my amp meter here. So when I plug this in, I'm expecting to see some kind of numbers on the bottom graph here, because if it's not drawing anything, that means no active components are working and doing their job. So these are the numbers that we would get even if the device wasn't connected. I've showed it on many videos before. If I just power on the unit by itself, it gives us the same reading. So did we connect anything or not? That's that's a separate story. So even if the memory is taken off of the device itself should be able to draw something. At least 0.01 or 0.02 should be present. If we see that it's flat out 0, that means the controller is not even powered on. It's not even taking in anything. So what could that be? What could force the controller not to take anything in? Well, let's have a look. Everything is covered in flux just because I was reworking all of these headers, and I wanted to be nice and fluxed up. But looking here, I don't notice anything abnormal. Because it's not taking in anything, I want to take off that component altogether, remove it, check out the pads underneath to make sure that they are attached. Because if there's something wrong on the circuit level where pads are disconnected or broken or loose, they're maybe not making connection with our main brain component here. So let's put on fume extraction, hot air station, turn it on, set it to I'm gonna run with 350 on this one. I want to use a holder for this job, so let's link that in now. There, I can see it well now. To tell you the truth, I don't see anything wrong here. Everything looks nice. The ceramics, I checked them. They're in good working order. The only thing I want to just rejuvenate the solder on them, just to make sure that there's not corroded or anything like that. So this is where I'm noticing a little bit of abnormality. But this should be definitely solid enough, even with that little kink in the bend right there. So let's do a little bit of a test. We have a connection here, we have a connection there, so we get a we get the power going to it. Hard to say guys. This is not really something I can put my finger on and say this is the reason why it's not working. So we're getting 5 volts in, coming out on this side, and they're hitting this resistor here, and we're getting 5 volts out from here. That goes down in the VA there. So 3 and 3 is coming to this leg right there, and 3 and 3 is coming into this NAND right here. So far so good. This leg isn't linked to anything. Let's just put it back on for good measures, just to be certain here. At this point I don't want to fight it anymore. Let's just get those chips off. So I have this special low melt mix. I'm gonna jump on one side and do the other side. So there are 3 dots here, 1, 2, and 3. The leg number 1 is indicated by the small dot. That's how it's gonna go in. This is our chip number 1, and we just need a reader for it. Reader is right here. Hook that up. Read ID. We get the Shiba ID right there. Read it up with optimal speed. So we're getting 54 minutes estimated time. That's per bank. Each card has 2 banks, as you can see here, 1 and 2. So that's gonna be 4 hours into just straight reading. This is why you see why I was so eager to figure out how to fix the device rather than having to read it out. I'm pretty sure that this case should be solvable as a chip off. The only thing is that because it's a refurbished unit, the quality may not be all that great. I decided to test it on DeepSpar and see whether or not we get some sort of safe mode response. So just to freshen up our screen on a control panel, I'm gonna plug in a functional device just to clear everything out on the source USB device menu. And right now, guys, you can see that it's recognizing a 16 gigabyte PNY flash drive that I've plugged in. Now I'm gonna use the IS817 controller flash drive here and power that on, and also check out the readings once the power hits it. So we're getting 40 milliamps, which is what the device should be taken in. And if we go into this screen capture, we can see that Inister is showing, and Inister is the manufacturer name of the IS controllers. So controller is now picked up. So turn it off and set it aside. I want to mount those chips back on here because reading them was nothing short but problematic. It looks like the function of the flash drive had been restored. So instead of reading those chips and trying to build logical image out of a very unstable read that I captured, I would prefer to have the device working on its own. It looks like the wire is still in place. So if the wire is still good, it will make a beep like this. And I'm sure it's going to do that. Yeah, so it's all good there. Let's fire it up again and see what changes that it could have made to our device. So first reaction that I see is that we're instantly getting good readings. We're getting readings that the device should be sending. We're getting about 50, 40, 30. It's kind of unstable, but this is what I'm worried about, that it drops down to 10. It drops down to 10, that means it didn't initialize, and that means it's stuck on the boot loop, and that means the firmware that it's looking for desperately on NANDs is either unobtainable or damaged, or simply it has bad blocks and it's not able to translate properly. So the only option in this case would be to do recovery as a chip off. Now, to do recovery as a chip off, 2 of these chips need to be taken out, read independently, error corrected, and only then the sequence of blocks can be built. This is it, guys. Sorry, but this is not going to be working. We got to the repair on the unit as far as it can go. Functional. If we were to use identical memory chips but from trouble-free device on this flash drive, they would have ran it fine without issues. It's not a controller issue when you see amps stay high and then drop low like that and maybe cycle back and forth. That indicates that the drive is doing what it's supposed to do, but the NANDs are not providing what they need to provide. So this is it. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I will be happy to answer every one of you. Thanks guys for tuning in. I'll see you all in the next episode.